מכל הלילות, ובכל הלילות, אז חמץ ומצה, חמץ ומצה, הלילה זה הלילה זה מצה, הלילה זה כולו מצה. Okay, so that's nice to start. Laila Tov. Now,
Laila Tov.
Laila Tov.
Right.
So,
Laila Tov.
Laila Tov.
talk a little bit. We have a
Laila
lot of-
Tov. Laila Tov.
Okay. Okay, very good. Okay. So, first of all, few good news. It's not going, I think it's not going to kick us out today because by your help, I was able to open a Zoom like professional account. So it shouldn't kick us out. Thank you for those of you who made it possible. Secondly, I want to say something before we start. There is a special prayer that is said in Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Oh, which means that I can mute everybody. Hey, yeah, just a second. Everybody's muted now. Very good. Now, there is a special prayer that is said in the Day of Atonement before the special prayers of the morning day, not the evening one, which everybody knows called Nidre, but there is another one that is said that the cantor prays it, and it talks about him being unqualified or to lead the service on such an important time. And I'm a little bit like that because while I do have an intensive background in Jewish studies, I must admit that this is my first Seder to be the head of the Seder. I always celebrated with my parents or my in-laws. So for me and for you, for some of you, it might be also a first Seder. And it might be that some of you have already led several Seders themselves in their community, in their houses. So I feel that I'm a little bit unqualified, and I'm shaving my beard for the first time with you, on you guys. So if like a hairdresser, you get the first time and it doesn't come out right, that's, you don't pay. So thank God I was a moil for the first time on my firstborn and everything is all right. So if I circumcised my firstborn son and everything is working now, I hope I can do the Seder right. So in the last few days, I've talked with some of you, since many of you I get to meet during the week. I said, listen, how do I make this experience of a Seder a meaningful experience for everybody? Because, and you know me as a teacher, guys, my style is very informative. I tend to kind of talk about things, and I do it hopefully in kind of an informative way and in a way that even is entertaining, and that I do kind of, it comes naturally for me. But just a second, that's not the one that I want you to see. Just bear with me. Just a second. Okay. Yes. So, okay. Okay. So we've talked about the meaning of the word Pesach, and I thought about how do we make this experience of Seder a little bit different, because usually I'm talking of something, talking about something, historical context, getting into the grammar. But when it comes to this special night, the night of the Seder, it's not just talking about something, but part of the point of the Seder generally is to have it practiced, okay? To have it done with the people, part of the experiencing it. So we're not going to do a full Seder according to all of the details. For that, if anyone is interested, there is kind of a, I'll show you something. It's kind of a cheat sheet that you can print and you can do according to that, the whole 15 um, parts of the Seder, explaining how to do each and every part of it. But I thought about talking about kind of generalizing the concept of the Seder, talking a little bit about these things. And obviously, since asking questions is a great part of the Seder, and actually we started with the singing of Manishtana, which literally is how different is this night from every other night? Why is this night different than every other night? Why do we eat whatever leavened or unleavened bread in every other night, but tonight or tomorrow night we're only eating unleavened bread? Why do we do this or that? Why do we sit in every other night and today we recline on sofas? By the way, if you have sofas, for me it's not that convenient to go like that, but we'll do it until it gets tired. So why do we do that? So we start with asking questions. So I'll leave time for questions at the end of our discussion. And and the whole concept, as you can see, I've put something that would help you remember what are the important parts of the Seder night. And it's all going back to the mouth. You remember we've talked about the meaning of Pesach, and I said that one of the meanings of the word Pesach is a conversating mouth. So all of these things that are related to the Pesach are related first and foremost to the peh, the Hebrew word peh, which is a mouth. And we eat, we drink, we talk, especially conversate through asking, and we sing. Obviously, not every part is every bit as important, and not every detail, every practice has the same origin historically, and there are different sources for it. But it all goes back to doing stuff with our mouth. So eating, drinking, talking about, and singing. And let's start with eating. So I already have for you the Seder plate. Let's see if I show it, it might be okay. So I'll change the position so you can see it. I'll take my computer to show you this Seder plate.
I brought mine too.
Oh, very good. So you might be able to see this Seder plate. It's not really mine, and I'll tell you the story about it. Since it's our first Seder doing it home, you know that already, okay? And sorry, this is our first Seder doing it home. We didn't even have a Seder plate, right? Why would we need? We haven't done a Seder at home, just by my parents, by my in-laws every year. So this year, we knew that we're doing it alone because it's especially important not to go to elderly people. Out of the first 50 people who passed away in Israel from coronavirus, 48 of them were above the age of 60. 2 were under the age of 60. So it's, again, if your grandkids want to come, so say yes, but next year, okay? And And I know it's difficult, but it's important to keep safe, to keep everybody safe. Anyway, so I said to my parents, "Do you have spare ones that we can, borrow? And then I'll have it delivered here from my parents." And they did have, and not just they did have, they had one that Noah liked, which was nice. So we told her we got a delivery guy to deliver it, and it broke on the way. It was porcelain. So I was telling my neighbor, oh, I was telling him the story, and he said, "Listen, I just bought a new one because I thought I didn't have, because he's doing it for the first time as well." And his wife told him, "No, we already, your grandmother gave us one, when we married. So that's how I got this one, which was given by my neighbor to my neighbor by his grandmother when he got married or something like that." Anyway, stories aside, we have several elements that we eat. First of all, matzah. I'll go and I'll get my matzot. So, I have special matzot for the Seder night. These are 3 handmade matzot. And then I have about 6 pounds of matzot for the rest of the Passover. It's heavy. Okay, that's about more than enough for what we need for Passover, at least in a regular year. This year, everybody's home, everybody's constantly eating. Yeah. So that's the matzah. Now, a little bit about the matzah. The people of Israel. I'll start with a biblical account of it. The people of Israel did not have time when they ran out of Egypt, so it didn't rise. The dough didn't rise, so we remember that. But another thing is to remember that we shouldn't rise. We should not have pride or arrogance, and we should go back to the essence of things. So that's a little bit about the matzah, and that.
What is matzah?
Matzah is this unleavened bread. Let me show you. I'll open and I'll show you. That's the matzah. Okay, so I'm opening this big package and I'll show you. It's like a cracker, by the way. Not a very tasty cracker usually. It's not eaten because it's tasty. It's not very tasty. So here, I'll open it. You can, just a second. The one that is done by machines is usually square. It's thin, okay, and it breaks. It's not that tasty, okay. Some people like it. The funny enough, they say like the
unleavened.
Come again?
Bread. Unleavened bread.
Unleavened bread. Yeah, it means that the dough doesn't rise. You put
just flour and water, right?
Just flour and water, and you make it, and it's quick to make. You make it in under 18 minutes. That's the standard. Okay, it has to be done in under 18 minutes from start to finish. It doesn't take that much. Okay, even. So that's a little bit. I see there is a question. Galaxy A10E. I don't know who it is. Doesn't say the name. Yeah. Okay. So whoever is Galaxy A10E, if you have a question, you can also put it in the chat box, and I'll try to divide my. I see that already in the chat box. There are so many remarks. Gluten-free. Well done. Okay. Okay. You just see the slides. You can see also the speaker with the in the video. You should be able to see me as well. So we've talked about the matzah. Originally in the Passover, we had the Paschal lamb, the lamb. We don't have the lamb because we don't have the temple. So to remind us that originally there was a lamb, we use sometimes a chicken or a bone, a shank bone, sometimes a chicken wing. Okay, usually roasted. You don't have, I mean, not a pot roast, but like a barbecued or something. Or if you don't have to, you can do it on the stove. Just as a reminder, we put it to remember the Paschal lamb, which unfortunately we don't do because we don't have a temple. The Samaritans, by the way, do still have the Passover that they sacrifice. It's very interesting. The Samaritans, which some of you might remember from the New Testament, the story about the Good Samaritan, they hold a Paschal lamb sacrifice every year. They're a small minority, maybe 800 men. Half of them live in Har Gerizim and half of them live in the city of Cholon. And that's a little bit about the Samaritans. Again, they are interesting. It's an interesting thing to see. Okay. Moreover, so we have the egg, hard-boiled egg, usually peeled. I did not peel this one yet, but tomorrow it will be peeled. And this reminds us of the sacrifice that would be in the temple in the festival, except for the Paschal lamb, because in every one of the three major holidays, Passover, booths, and weeks, there would be an offering that is brought to the temple. So that's to remind us that offering. Why an egg? To remind us that even though the temple is destroyed and we are sad, we remember that the world is round and it goes round and round, and sometimes you feel sad, but you should remember that things can roll around, turn around. So we take something that is circular, that rolls around. We do it also if someone dies. So to give them some comfort, we give them round stuff to show that something, the will goes around. Okay, so we have these. We have karpas, which is either parsley or celery, or some use potato, and that is herbs that were used in celebratory dinners during the Greco-Roman time, during the time of the Mishnah and the Talmud, and the time in which we eat them is not the regular time in which they would be eaten in those feasts, which should cause the kids to ask questions. Okay, so we do all kinds of crazy stuff in order to get the kids involved, and not just the kids, but everybody. So if you want to come to the Your Seder, I know that you don't have large families with you, but doing something unusual to get people asking, that's wonderful. I should tell you that indeed people today oftentimes do go with different kind of novelty stuff on their Seder plates. And we'll get to that in a minute. So we've talked about the egg, we've talked about the shank bone, the karpas here, parsley.
Sorry, Nathaniel.
Yeah?
Sorry, Nathaniel. I have a question.
Yes?
Could we just back up a little where you said that you don't roast lamb, so you use like chicken to substitute because you don't have a temple.
Yeah.
But okay, my question is, couldn't you just buy like lamb and roast it at home?
Oh, sure. Yeah. But this is kind of the practice. Some people do use a lamb bone, not on their Seder plate. And some people do eat lamb in the Seder night. I come from an ethnic group within the Jewish people called Ashkenazi Jews. Ashkenazi Jews comes from European descent, okay? And in Europe, lamb wasn't very common, so they used this as a substitute. We don't do the Paschal, the whole process, because we don't have a temple. And it's, yeah, so that's a little bit about it. But again, everything that I'm saying can be, you know, I can give you an hour about every one of these, but we're like just talking like in bottom lines. Okay, so we kind of know, you know, it's 101. Okay, obviously there could be a prolonged discussion about each and every one of these. Bitter herbs. So bitter herbs usually bitter or tasteless in the case of lettuce, or horseradish, guys. If that's for those of you who are brave enough, okay. Do you know, like, do you eat horseradish? Anyone? Okay, very good.
I did do it on one
Yes.
Seder, and we made them cry.
I like it.
You like it, very good. So, Mina,
Yeah.
if you like it, you cannot have it as bitter herbs, right? It has to.
Oh, no, I don't like
I'm just kidding. You can, but yeah.
Well, the reason I like it is because it clears the respiratory system.
Oh, very good.
What
So it's
is
even
it?
good for COVID-19, right?
Oh,
Yeah, I'll have one every day now. So that's bitter herb.
Nathaniel,
Yeah,
I think the Japanese has a green something
right.
like this.
They have wasabi. Wasabi.
Oh
Yeah,
my
wasabi.
goodness.
Yes, correct.
It's crazy.
Yes, yeah. It's actually the taste is similar. Yeah, the taste is similar. The wasabi and the horseradish.
So it's bread and
horseradish.
salad.
Is the
Tatiana,
horseradish as hot as the wasabi?
it is hot. It is hot. I don't know. It's quite hot. Give it a try.
Oh my goodness.
It makes your eyes water when you're grating it.
Oh my goodness.
Wasabi is hotter than horseradish usually.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but it's hot enough. It's kind of, but the taste is somewhat similar.
I like horseradish too.
Very good. So you can use horseradish, you can use lettuce, and that's the common stuff that is used to remind us the bitterness of the slavery. So the Seder plate, as you can see, we're eating, and the charoset, which here you can see number 5. We didn't make it yet. We'll make it tomorrow. Sorry for the fact that you have to look at it and not eat it or not see someone holding it. But the charoset is sweet, and it looks like mortar a little bit, right? Looks like mortar, like something that you would use for building to remind us the slavery, and that they worked with mortar, and they built those cities of Pitom and Ramses for Pharaoh, the Israelites in Egypt. So these are the things we eat. Now, it's important to talk about the concept of eating as well, because...
What is number 5?
Come again?
What is number 5? It looks like tuna fish.
That's exactly what I said. It's called charoset, number 5 here. It's called...
And number 4?
It's actually sweet, and it looks like mortar or mire, mortar.
But what is it?
Oh, what's it made of? You mean?
Yes, right.
So every family really has its own secret, recipe. Okay.
I thought it was apple.
Okay, so
Not apple
you've
and
got
sultana.
usually wine and apples, pears.
And bone.
Netanel,
Yeah.
what is number 4?
Number 4 is potato. Kartoshka.
Yeah.
Right.
And 5 is not tuna fish. Not tuna.
No, it's not tuna fish. It looks like here in this picture. But you know what? Let me show you more pictures, because again, everyone have their own recipe. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah, let me show you different. Let me show you different pictures so you see dates and other sweet stuff, and it goes nicely with the matzah. let me show you different pictures of it so you can see this.
But you actually eat everything here.
Yeah, you eat, depends. These ones, you know, you don't eat, you leave them on the Seder plate. But you eat most of these during the Seder. Again, it depends on the traditions of the family and the ethnic group within the Jewish people where you come from. Because my family comes from an Ashkenazi background. So for instance, we don't eat the shank bone during the Seder night. Okay, my parents actually don't eat anything that is barbecued on the Seder night to remember that we don't have the lamb. I am, you know, I'm a little bit different on that, but again, it's a matter of tradition and practices. You can see different recipes for chawasid, and there is a good reason they all look different because they all are different.
Oh, it's like hummus, no? Hummus.
No. So hummus is made of chickpeas. Every hummus is made of chickpeas and sesame and so forth. But with chawasid, it's first of all sweet, and I would say that most recipes would have wine, would have dates, would have apples. But again, it is a mix. As long as you get something that is grayish and looks like mortar, or yeah,
Okay.
that's the point. And sweet usually. So
Does it depend on where you're from, what's grown there? Is that why the variation?
yes, I would certainly, yeah, that's the case. That's the case for many things. Also in the music, we'll get to the singing. So the melodies of different ethnic group within the Jewish people are related to the places where they were. So if you are in a surrounding where the fish you eat is salmon, then when you have fish, you have salmon. If you grow where the fish is something else, you eat something else. So if there is no lamb, you make it out of chicken. If there is no dates, you make it out of apples and so forth. So that's the availability is a great component of these recipes, no doubt. Moving on to the concept of eating, okay? Because it's not enough to be talking about something, but to be experiencing something. And that's a principle of Judaism. And it really doesn't matter what kind of Judaism you adhere to. Within Judaism, we have different denominations. We have Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, Reconstructionist, Ultra-Orthodox, and everything in between, Conservadox, and so forth and so on. And number 3 here is the horseradish that I showed you, but it's cut into little pieces. Okay, so that's the horseradish, Simon.
I'm sorry,
just
go
a
ahead.
second. So the concept, just a second, Sharon.
Sure.
So the concept of eating is putting into real life, into the actual everyday life, the values. So it's not enough to be talking about something, but experiencing it. So I said to someone, to a group of Reform rabbis, rabbinical students who came to my town, and I was asked to speak with them, I said to them, there is something very, very similar in a Reform Jew in America trying to have to help illegal immigrants cross the border, and an Orthodox Jew in Israel settling the mountains of Samaria. While they differ politically enormously, they are both activists in the sense that they are acting based on their beliefs. So Judaism is in many aspects a religion in which you have to be active. You have to do, not just to believe, not just to have a faith, but to act upon it. So eating is part of it. It's not just thinking about something, but doing it. Okay, Sharon, did you want to ask something?
I missed what you said. Number 4 represent. I heard you said it was potato, but I'm not sure what it represents.
So I did talk about number 4. Number 4, as well as number 6, are herbs that were traditionally in the time where this the Seder night was fashioned in the way it is today, they were common components of a feast. So they are incorporated into the Seder night, not in the same time where they would be in a regular feast, and that should cause the kids to ask. Now, the kids don't know any of the background, and they don't know they should be asking about it, but that's the historical background for it. So that's eating. And moving on to drinking, okay? And you can see these men here. First of all, they are even, you know, Sherry, you asked about what's underneath. So I have a dress shirt underneath this. They didn't bother so much with too much clothing. Now, yeah, salt water is used, but usually not on the Seder plate. Barb is asking about the salt water. So I hope you've got your wine. Okay, I like Cabernet Sauvignon. So we have 4 cups. I don't know either of traditionally either of silver or glass or whatever you have. Again, I'm not planning on having 4 cups of wine now. Just a l'chaim, a small l'chaim, a small taste, because as I said, we have to act upon it, not just to talk about it. So,
Mr. Barak.
Yeah.
Barak, I don't think I've ever drank wine before noon before.
Oh, it's always 5 p.m. somewhere.
That's what my husband said.
Right. It's always 5 p.m. somewhere. That's what everybody says. And in Israel, it's already much later, so we're good. You can say I'm doing Israel time. Nobody would know.
Israel time.
Right. Happy hour all day long. Israel time, then England time, then whatever time. So now drinking wine. So drinking wine was not part of the original Passover. If you open the book of Exodus, you have nothing about wine. Okay? So why do we drink it if it's not in the Bible? We'll get to it in a minute. But first of all, I want to make the blessing that we bless all year round when we drink wine. And then we'll drink a little bit, and then we'll talk about drinking the wine. So, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. L'chaim. L'chaim.
L'chaim. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Right. Cheers. Nazdrovia. Right. Salute. Right. Oh, slanch, right? Suzanne, slanch or whatever. How do you say it? Gaelic?
Yakida.
Skol.
Skol, right.
Salute.
Salute, slanch. Wow.
Cheers.
Very good. So a little bit about the wine, the drinking part. So the formative period of Judaism, Rabbinic Judaism as it is today, is not so much the biblical time. There are many differences, even the term Rabbinical Judaism, okay? So I'm willing to bet anyone, I'm not a betting man, but if you take the Hebrew Bible and you read it cover to cover from Genesis to 2nd Chronicles, okay? You will find no rabbis, nothing, none. You can look for them. Moses is not called a rabbi. Joshua is not called a rabbi. None of the prophets, no rabbis. And while Judaism is rabbinic Judaism, right? And we've talked about the Paschal lamb. We could have added the other sacrifices. So we don't have any sacrifices in our everyday Judaism for the past practically 2 millennia. And furthermore, all of these, almost much of the other elements that were so important during the biblical times as a prophecy, we don't have it anymore in Rabbinical Judaism, not as a living concept. We don't have a temple. So there are many differences between the biblical times Judaism and Rabbinic Judaism as we practice it today. And the formative time for Rabbinical Judaism or Rabbinic Judaism is the same formative age for Christianity, and that is the Greco-Roman period. Okay? There are so many, by the way, it might be that even the term Pharisaic comes from Greek. So the Greek culture has influenced the rabbis and helped form Rabbinic Judaism as it influenced Christianity. Okay, and in that sense, the contribution of Greco-Roman culture in this case is the wine. Okay, it's not that Jews didn't, Israelites didn't have wine, they did, but they didn't have this concept of gathering together, reclining on sofas, talking about ideas, and drinking wine all together. Do you know how we call this? Guys, I'm sure you heard about the English word symposium, right? Do you know what it means?
To gather together and talk.
And not
To
just
drink.
talk, but to drink wine together, to drink together. Okay? And the Seder night is designed as a symposium in the literal sense of it. Okay? So if you had to kind of explain what is a Seder night in one sentence, okay, I would say it's a Jewish symposium commemorating the Exodus. Wow. Essentializing the Seder night in 5 words. Okay, and that's what it is. And you cannot have symposium, which is drinking together, without drinking. Okay, so l'chaim.
L'chaim.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. So,
Salute.
right. And
To
so,
life.
to life, right. Don't have me sing it, right? To life, l'chaim, right. Anyway, so drinking together, you can see that these men are actually reclining in the exact same fashion that I was doing before. I'm not as good looking as these guys, but I can have a painter, you know, I can have someone Photoshop doctor the picture, and I would be as good looking as these guys. Let's hope it doesn't deteriorate to what happens here in the other picture. You can see this servant helping this guy participating in the symposium to, he has a reversal of fortune. Yeah, he is regurgitating so he could have some more, unfortunately. And that was a common practice in these symposia. That's not the intention in the Seder. So let's make sure to drink responsibly. Nobody's driving anywhere, so that's a benefit, right? Everybody's home as it is. They don't have to drive back home. So the 4 cups of wine traditionally are, the number 4 has great importance in the Seder night. We'll talk about the 4 sons in a second. We have 4 cups of wine, when the 5th one is considered to be the cup of Elijah, right? The prophet Malachi says that he is sending Elijah before the day of the Lord, right? And Elijah is like a little bit like the Santa Claus who is visiting every house, so he is visiting every Seder. This year, I don't know if I let him in because he was in so many families. I don't know what he's catching. You know, if he caught the virus, he's bringing it here. So I don't know. Yeah.
Didn't John the Baptist represent, though, Elijah?
So in Christianity, yeah, in Christological exegesis of the Bible, John the Baptist is kind of a reincarnation or kind of representing Elijah the prophet. Again, in Judaism, it's not a concept that exists within Judaism, at least not, Rabbinic Judaism, maybe in Messianic Judaism. I'm not an expert on that. By the way, John the Baptist, if you already mentioned him, for Monday, and I don't know if Raphael is here, but the John the Baptist is like the most important figure of the Monday, which is a Gnostic sect. Very interesting one. Okay, so we've talked about eating, we've talked about drinking, now a little bit about talking. Again, there is, what we do is we say the Haggadah. Haggadah is literally telling or something, saying something. There is kind of a set of verses which we read and explain and so forth. So there is an endless versions for Haggadot, both with different from different periods, different emphasis, and so forth and so on. And there is even a website which enables you to make your own Haggadah. It's called haggadot.com. And you can make your own Haggadah based on traditional Haggadah or different and so forth. And the values are reflected in the Seder, the values of each person or each group by the illustrations and also by the stuff that is put on the Seder plate. I've shown you the regular Seder plate as would be in my house, but I want to show you also how some other people have other concepts for it. Here, just a second. Do you see this Seder plate?
Yeah.
Do you see it has a cell phone, matches, cup of water, a tomato, soldier, Band-Aids?
It's like vegan version, no?
You got, right, vegan. Oh, by the way, yes. So these people, but vegetarians, vegans, they put a flour instead of the egg. They put beet instead of the bone. And there are all kinds of different combinations, new stuff, not the traditional stuff, that serve to represent different ideas. Okay? So you've got like artichoke for interfaith families. Again, if the husband or the wife is Jewish and the spouse is non-Jewish and they want to celebrate the Seder, so they put their artichoke there. I don't know. Again, it's all very, very new. So again, that's a new concept, and you put like a glass of water for people who don't yet have clean water, Band-Aids for people who need medical assistance, cell phone. I don't know. So people tend to play with it a little bit. It's, again, I do traditional Seder with a traditional Seder plate, but people use the Seder plate to reflect their values and their sometimes the social issues which they identify with. Simon, I'm sure you liked it, right?
This is like appetizers, and then you have the second course. With,
okay, so you have a meal. Yes, you have a meal. The meal part is when you're talking and talking and talking, and everybody else is dying to get to the eating part. Yeah, so that's traditionally what's done. It has to be longer than people want. You have to make the talking longer than people are ready for. That's traditionally how we do it until everybody suffers. And then you feel this night of going from labor to liberty. So from serfdom to freedom by finishing the Haggadah and moving to the eating part of it. That was a joke, but yeah, sometimes it feels like it.
We all took that very seriously.
Yeah,
Sure did. I was just about to write.
Some of you might have. Okay. So so that's that. And this night, indeed, the Haggadah, we've talked about talking. So the Haggadah is built starting with negative and finishing with positive. So starting with a story of the enslavement of the Israelites in Egypt, and starting from the story of even pre-existing, before the time of Israel, how our forefathers were idol worshippers. And from these two negative concepts of being servants, slaves, right, and being idol worshippers, the Haggadah progresses into being believing people of faith and also free men, free people. So that's the Haggadah. One of the famous parts of the Haggadah is the four sons, or And the four sons, which we have here on screen, is again depicted very differently with different Haggadot. Understandably, people who there are four sons: the wise one, the wicked one, the naive, and the one who doesn't even know how to ask. You can see the Hebrew words here: Chacham, Rasha, Tam, and She'eno Yodea Lish'ol, the one who cannot even ask. And the top, you can see the two words Arba'a Banim, four sons. This is part of the Haggadah where there are different verses that represent the relationship and the need, the commandment to tell the story to your son. So there are 3 times in the Torah where we are asked, we are asked by the future generation, what's the story of the Exodus? And these are associated with these 3 sons, Chacham, Rasha, and Tam. Again, I'm not getting into it in depth. You're more than welcome to read it and read the explanations there. And there is also one that cannot, if he doesn't know how to ask. Okay, sometimes we have a child and different approaches fit different children. Sometimes there is the one that doesn't even ask. So you have to tell him, okay? So that's the 4 different approaches. I think that there is a 5th one. There is the child that doesn't even come to the Seder night because he's so far from his roots that he's too far to even come to the Seder night to participate. And we also have to think about that kind of child. Obviously, today it's not just boys, but originally Arba'a Banim. This is from Poland. This picture is from a Haggadah in Poland about 100 years ago. By the way, the whole art part of the Haggadot is very, very telling and very rich. And there are many famous Haggadot with illustrations. And then you can see how you depict the wise man, the wise one, and the wicked one are exactly the values. They reflect your values, obviously. Okay, so that's about talking about the Haggadah, this telling, this organized order. The whole meaning of the word Seder means order, because we do the things in a certain order. We have like 15 subsections. Again, we're not going to cover all of them. Just if you want, I can send you this. Let me show you. There is a kind of a cheat sheet for those of you who are doing the Seder and want to follow that exactly. So this, okay. Let me show you.
Can I talk to you?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Sherry.
I've noticed that you bring up the children a lot.
Yes.
They seem to have a lot of involvement from day one.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been doing something right. If you're asking this question, the message is delivered. Yeah. The intergenerational connection is maybe the most important theme of the Seder night, and it is a verse. It says, "Vehigadeta levincha." You should tell your son. Yes. Obviously, it's not just the son; it's also the daughters. It's the whole family. But the continuation from one generation to another is the concept of the Seder. So, for those of you who are
you keep bringing it up about the children, the children.
Right. So yeah, So you can see that these. This is for those of you who are going to run the Seder and want to do it in the most traditional way. So there is kind of cheat sheet Seder, Passover Seder. You don't actually have to do it, but it's here, and I can send you if you're interested. Yes. Send me an email.
Yes, I am interested.
Okay. Send me an email, and I'll try to get around to doing it.
Okay, I'll write your email.
You can also look it up. It's Seder night cheat sheet. Yeah. Very good. So singing. And I know I said that we have to do and not just talk about it. Obviously, there are different traditions for Jews coming from different parts of the world. And many different songs. Among the most well-known are Dayenu, which is literally translate, it would have been enough for us. Dayenu.
Dayenu.
Very good, very good. So I see some of you know that. Echad mi yodea, which means one, who knows one. And actually, right, very good. And actually, in English, who knows one? I know one. One is the Lord. Two, who knows two? Two are the tablets. Three, who knows three? Three are the patriarchs. Four are the matriarchs. And then you five are the books of Moses. And then you go all the way to 13 and you sing it. I do the Hebrew version. There is an English version as well. Also, a very common song is Leshana Haba B'Yerushalayim, which I send
next time in Jerusalem.
Next year in Jerusalem, in built Jerusalem here, Leshana Haba B'Yerushalayim Habnuya. And as I said, we should leave some room for questions. So guys, if you want to ask anything about the Seder night, by the way, Jerry,
my plate.
Come again?
I brought my plate.
Very good.
Yes, there you go. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see a round one.
No, this one's a square one.
Yeah, I meant it's not round. It's the different.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it fits the matzah nicely. Yeah.
Nathaniel, I have a question regarding the wine. I think it was taught to us that it should be without fermentation. Is it correct?
Okay, so that's something that some do. Ethiopian Jews, possibly Ethiopian Jews, they follow a tradition that nothing should be. Okay, let's talk about fermentation, right? Fermentation is a process that is crucial in order to have wine. Otherwise, you're drinking grape juice, right?
I have grape juice. I have red grape juice.
Okay, just a second. Very good. But the fermentation is exactly what turns the matzah, the unleavened bread, into leavened bread. Chemically, like biologically, fermentation of wine or cheese or of dough is the same concept. Right? And some have even said that it's the fermentation should not be in the wine as well. This is not the common practice among Jews. Most Jews would drink regular wine, which is fermented, but some do, again, Ethiopian Jews especially, do follow this rule of drinking grape juice and not fermented wine, not regular wine. Okay, so thank you for your question. Minonet, I see you have a question. Your hand is up.
Yeah, you get some wine that says kosher for Passover.
Right. Yeah, you have the wine. Most wines would have kosher for Passover. You can see it says usually in the back. Let me show you. Do you see?
Yeah.
See where it says? Yeah. Kasher lepesach, it's like a selfie, so it's the other way around. But where my hand is, it says kasher lepesach, kosher for Passover, and you have it in English, probably in wherever you are. But it's regular wine.
I don't like that one that you have. I prefer Paul Winton.
Right. So whatever. I thought about sending you a case, but now you said you don't like it. So I'll have to send it to someone else. Yeah.
Netanel.
Yes.
A question. The part of the matzah, I think it's supposed to be 3 matzah, I heard.
Yeah.
And
so we have 3 matzot, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we have 3, and indeed in this matzah that I have especially reserved, handmade for tomorrow, there are 3 inside this. And yes, we take the middle one, we break it, we save the smaller part for later. We hide it, and that is the afikoman. And you might have heard about the kids looking for the afikoman. And if they find it, they get a prize. They can negotiate it. That's also a practice that is a common thing. And someone said, why do you, if you hide it and they are trying to find it and then take it from you, why do you teach them to steal something in the Seder night? You're teaching, it's not good to be teaching the kids to steal. So someone said to him, no, but in the 10 Commandments also, you start talking about these bad things, because when you become a free man, you become responsible for your actions. If you're a slave, your master tells you what to do, you do it. When you're a free man, you have to take responsibility. So if you're a slave and you steal something, it's not yours because you don't have the ability to possess anything. Once you become a free man, you have the ability to steal, to take something, and you have the responsibility not to do it. If you're a slave, even if you steal, if you do these physical actions, you are not stealing because it's not yours, it's your master's. Now that you're a free man, you can steal and you can choose not to do it. So that's a little bit about this practice of breaking the middle matzah. We have three. Also common understanding is that these three matzot are like priests, Levites, and Israelites, and the rest of the people, and so forth and so on. So Ulrike, yes.
Yes, my question is if there's wine in the cup of Elijah, and what happens with the wine?
So what happens with a cup? Very good. First of all, there is wine. We put wine, and it's usually a bigger cup than the other cups. And when you open the door, you kind of like trip you push the table a little bit with your leg, with your foot. So it drips a little bit, and you tell the kids, you see, some of it is gone. That's what we do. But don't tell the kids. It's a secret.
No, it is a bit like Santa Claus.
But some wine will stay inside the cup.
Right. So listen, if he drinks all of the cup within every house, he won't find the next house, So understandably, that's a trick, but don't tell anyone, right?
Well, your kids might have heard you now.
Right. So Racelis.
Yes, Netanel. I heard that Apikomen means dessert in Greek.
Right.
How did matzah ever get relegated as a dessert?
Okay, very good. It's not a dessert. The point, yeah, as with many other names, the name Afikoman actually means kind of a sweet wine in Greek, and that is something that they would eat as a dessert or drink or consume as a dessert. And the point is that in the Seder night, we don't eat the afikoman. Okay, but it came to be known as afikoman. Though the point is that we don't eat it because we don't want the taste of the matzah or the taste of the paschal lamb to kind of disappear. So we have to finish with that taste. So people call it afikoman, they call the matzah the afikoman, but as you correctly said, it's the dessert which we don't eat in order to still have the taste of the matzah or the taste of the lamb.
Netanel, I have a question.
Go ahead, Jerry.
The Passover has been kept for generations to generations. Has it lost its meaning from the original time? Has it become now almost not insignificant, but has less significance? Or is it something that has kept the people together through? Because right now, when you're in prosperity, it's pretty hard to think about suffering when everything is so well. But I just wonder, has it lost its meaning?
It's an excellent question. I don't think it lost any, its meaning, but definitely the Passover evolved. We've even talked about it. We've talked about the fact that the original Passover didn't have wine. Now we do have wine, and we make the meaning out of what we have. So we talk about the wine, and we talk about these. Again, I've showed you those people who put the cup of water, because we have to think about people who don't have access to clean water. By the way, they also kind of gave it a feminist twist and they call it the cup of Miriam because to kind of have a feminist answer to the cup of Elijah, they put a cup of water. They call it the cup of Miriam, the prophetess, because she had like the well of water that accompanied the Israelites, according to rabbinic tradition, was because of Miriam. She was important, so they put that, and we play with the Seder in order to express changes in practices and values, but we keep the core of it, and that is the telling of the story, the intergenerational story of the Exodus from serfdom to liberty. I don't think it is less, and now numbers, okay? So statistics show that 80, maybe more than 90 even % of Israelis do have the Seder night. So this is one of the most popular things that even people who are not observant keep. And it wasn't, a coincidence that Benjamin Netanyahu, who by himself is not a very religious person, he quoted, the book of Exodus and talked about the Seder night and talked about how important it is to have it at home, not to go to the grandparents because it's dangerous, so stay home. But everybody's doing the Seder, and it's such a challenge in Israel because everybody knows that you go to your parents, and every year, again, I don't drive during the holiday, but so many people who drive, it's known like that on the Seder night, you have like traffic in 2 a.m., people coming back, and you have traffic in the middle of the night. And this year, it's going to be, they're going to put police to make sure people stay home and don't drive. It's a crazy Seder night this year. And so many people are going to celebrate it for the first time at home. And that's, me as an example. And it's
Nathan.
Yeah, just a second, Minonat. I'm just finishing the last sentence, because we actually start the Seder night by saying, anyone who's hungry, let them come and eat, and anyone who is in need, let them come and join us. And this year, nobody's going to join anyone. Yes, Minonat.
Don't you drink the final cup, the fourth cup, the Elijah
cup? The fourth
cup?
we do, but the fifth we don't do. So we do drink 4 cups. There is a tradition of fifth one that is kind of the future redemption, that we don't drink 5. You can drink, if 4 cups of wine is not enough for you, you can drink with a meal more. Okay? But
listen, what I was going to say is that in Messianic Judaism, we drink the 4 cups, and the 4th cup, we have the what do you call it, akafaman? We have that before we drink the 4th cup.
Before the 4th cup, or so you don't drink a 5th one?
No. So we have the matzah that you hide. When you burn that out, you break it, and everybody have a piece of that. You share that because it's supposed to be like what Jesus did on night when he was crucified. That last meal with his disciples, but he didn't partake of it because he said to them that he will only take of it when he takes new in the kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Yes, obviously the Passover night is very important in Christianity and in Messianic Judaism, as it is the night, the last night of Jesus was the Seder night, right? So it's very important.
I have another question.
Sorry, Nathaniel, is there a connection between the well of Miriam? You said the water was going with Miriam. Is there a connection between her and the stone, the rock where the water came from?
The well, what do you mean, the stone?
You mentioned about Miriam and water in the desert.
Yeah, the well of Miriam, yeah, Be'er Miriam. And
it was following them in the desert?
Yes, that's the tradition.
So was that the same water as came from the rock?
No, it's a different story. The point is that the story of the water with the rock happens after Miriam dies. So that's the inspiration for that tradition. Okay, where did they have water before? Oh, Miriam, as long as she was alive, you know, they had the water from because of.
And where did that come from? The idea that Miriam's connected to water?
No, first of all, she is leading the women after the parting of the Red Sea. But secondly, as I said, after she dies, there is the story of the people not having water. So one has to ask what happened so far, and that's the background for that tradition.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Nathaniel.
Yes. Let's take 3 last questions. Yeah.
With the For I Will.
Just a second. There is a lot of background noise, so I'm muting everybody. Oh, just a second. A second, I'll mute everybody's microphone. Just
mute.
Yes. Okay. Now, yeah. It's
So with the four I will cups, then, you know, and they say, you know, the one like with Jesus when he was taking, I will, the first one, I will bring you out from under the yoke. Then that I will rescue you from your slavery. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm. I mean, I know from a Christian point of view, just the symbolism within that, and just sort of
right.
Is what
The
our
whole
present time
of wine and this that looks like communion, right? It looks like it's so understandably, yeah. The
like the Isaiah 53.
So Isaiah, I'm not getting into that Christological discussion now, which is a very interesting, very big one. Obviously, everyone has their own traditions of it, but the Passover, the wine, and the matzah are somewhat similar to themes that are obviously later applied in Christianity as well. Barb, yes, we do eat the matzah, which we call afikoman, while in Greek, the word afikoman refers to the dessert. So we don't eat the afikoman really. We eat the matzah, and we call it afikoman even though it's not. So we eat for dessert this, which is not dessert. I don't know if you've noticed, it's not dessert. Okay.
One last question from Jerome or Jerry, and that is, in the Second Temple period, were there more than one calendar for keeping Pesach?
So yes, there were actually possibly more than 2. Yeah. But you might be referring to a very famous division of opinion. Again, who would have thought a division of opinion within the Jewish people, right? But there was a division of opinion between a different calendar that is represented in today in the Book of Jubilee. You can read the Book of Jubilee and see that this. Again, I don't want to talk about the Essenes because I'm not sure the Essenes were the people who were practicing this calendar. But yes, there was a calendar in which the Passover would always fall on Shabbat. This is not the calendar that Rabbinic Judaism follows. Big discussion, why, what. Again, I'm not getting into it. There were actually might have been more than 1 or 2 more. There might have been more than 2 even. And we've talked about it with Hezekiah. You change, you change something. You want to change the calendar as well. That's part of kind of changing. I'll give an example again between Judaism and Christianity. You change the religion. You want to make it different. You decide that now you're celebrating on Sunday. Okay. So that's part of kind of distinguishing you from the mother spaceship, right? Right. So that's a little bit about that. And last question, Rebecca, I see your hand is up for a long time.
Yes, thanks, Nathaniel. Yeah, you mentioned that the wine was not part of the original Passover meal in Exodus. So did I miss that already? That when was wine first introduced and introduced by whom?
Okay, so wine was introduced, first of all, the wine was part of the sacrificial work in the temple already in the first temple. And it's definitely went with many many other sacrifices. But as part of the Seder night, as kind of an important night of the Seder night, it was introduced in the Greco-Roman period, which means probably no earlier than 332, 333, where Alexander the Great is conquering the East, and he brings very strong influence of Hellenistic culture on to all of the nations of their East, which was including Israel. So this is why you can see these men here in this Greek depiction. This is actually a Roman depiction. Do you know why I know it's Roman and not Greek?
Because of the head, the things they're wearing on the head.
Yeah, head. The
Stephanos?
Yeah.
Yes, Stephanos. That's it. I couldn't think of the name.
Anyway, I think it is Roman. I think the Greek symposium women were not allowed to attend. So the fact there is a woman there is also telling. Anyway, the point.
She's serving.
Right, she's playing, she's serving, but I don't know if they had women even doing that. Anyway, I'm not sure, but I think it is. The point is that it is a Greco-Roman practice, so it was not introduced to the practices of the Seder earlier than 333. Exactly when after? Is it 300, 200, 100 before the common era? I cannot pinpoint, but I can say it's a Greco-Roman practice.
Is that the same as the reclining?
Yes, the same as the reclining, which was, again, a practice that was a standard in the symposium. I said that if I have to essentialize the Seder night, I would say it's a Jewish symposium commemorating the Exodus. Okay, obviously, if it is a symposium, people speak and talk about philosophical idea. And by the way, the guy leading the symposium, he decides what wine we drink. So minonet, it doesn't matter which one you like. It's the guy running the show who decides what kind of wine we get. That's part of the definition. By the way, I'm talking about Greek culture now. That was by definition he was the sympo's ark, right, the head of the symposium, and he would decide how much water we put into the wine depending on the philosophical subject. Do you need the people to be more, drunk or less drunk according to the philosophical subject that matter? That's a true thing. I'm not kidding you. That wasn't a joke. That was a true thing. So thank you for all of these questions. As I said at the beginning, I was a little bit hesitant to be doing this for the first time in my life, and I hope it worked out nicely.
It did.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just a reminder for no lesson tomorrow and Thursday because it's the holiday, and I don't work on the holiday. So I will see you only Sunday.
Sunday.
Pesach Sameach.
Okay.
Chag Hanukkah Sameach.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Happy Passover, happy Pesach.
Pesach Sameach.
Pesach.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
אני מכין עם מחרוסת.
בסדר גם. מה זה? והיא מרשה לך יותר?
מה?
היא מרשה לך יותר עכשיו?
Thank you, Netanel.
You're welcome, Barb. Barb, Alice made great matbucha, and we are enjoying it.
I have to tell you, she sent me a picture, and I'm very jealous.
Yes, yes. We're used to have you around on, Passover
Yeah,
time.
no kidding. I'm used to being there.
Yeah.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. I hope, you know, yeah, I hope it, you did so many Seders. I hope it still had some new information for you.
Yeah, you did. It was very interesting. Very
Netanel.
Hi, Chag Sameach.
How are you?
How are you, Herb?
How are you?
Good.
We're okay. We're good.
What do you
You
say
still
about
playing?
What do you say about the Pats losing TB12?
Oh well.
You know what? They've had their day. You know, it's enough. I don't like Belichick and I don't like Kraft.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's
So
okay. I was a New York Giants fan before I was a Patriots fan, so that's okay.
So you're off the wagon.
Yeah, I'm off the wagon.
I hope
You're
not with the
looking good.
drinking thing.
The drink?
No, I'm saying I hope you're not off the wagon with the drinking thing.
Oh no, I'd rather be on the wagon.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are the Razorbacks doing? Your football team?
The Silverbacks, you mean? Yeah.
The Silverbacks.
Yeah, we had another less than mediocre season.
Well, you have fun. That's all.
Yeah, we have fun. But I don't know if I'm going back for more. I'm a little bit too old, too slow, too small. Yeah, for that.
Yeah. Like he says, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Right, right.
Yeah, all right. Well, be well. My best to your family.
Oh, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Friday at 1?
Sunday at whatever that was for you.
Sunday at 1. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. They already did.
Bye-bye.